Hello DevOps people, how are things? Welcome to Full Stack Live, my weekly live coding session. As always, I love it when this session is interactive and I love to chat. So if there's anything you'd like to ask or if there's anything you would like to share, simply go into Twitch chat and let me know. I will be more than happy to talk to you. Okay. So welcome. The weather outside here is nice, and it's still good to be at home and work on a few things. Actually, I'm not sure what I'm going to work on today. In the moment, I'm just scanning my issue queues and looking at things that might be interesting to do today. While I'm doing that, why not let me know how the weather is in your neck of the woods and how you're doing. Let me see. There is an issue about the replacing CanCanCan with action policy. That's something I have been working on already. I did a few sessions, I think, last year on this, but I've never finished it. So this might be a good idea to do, because it's going to be the foundation of what I'm going to do with our hosting dashboard as well, which is completely overhaul the user management. I'm not happy how users and companies and their websites that are hosted on FreeSteelBox are connected and associated, and so renewing the whole permission system based on a new, more flexible gem might be a good idea, but I have to be honest, it's been more than half a year since I've been working on this, and I'll have to refresh my memory a bit. However, it might be worth a try. There should be some work on it anyway, so let's take a look at the remainders of my previous work here. This is issue number 334, which means there should be a branch with that issue number, and it's here, 334 action policy. Okay, so this is the project. Let's pull, and I'll have a look at what I've done so far, and if it looks promising, I'll try and push this a bit forward. I don't have the branch on my machine here. However, I could do a bit of a cleanup because all the pull requests here are gone, so a few of these issues should be resolved. Say, I'm still working on the 448 Robocop full coverage, because that requires a lot of style fixes. 446 should be done. It is, so get rid of that. 417 should be done as well. Yep. And 411 as well. Better use my delete branch here to delete the remote branch as well. And I should really use SSH agent here, so I don't always have to input my passphrase. Let's go back to all the branches here for 17. Okay, it has already been deleted. And 446. Okay, so this is much cleaner. And these are older issues that I'll have to tackle another time. So let's see if we check this out. So I assume we have action policy here now. Okay. And I guess we should do a merge of the master branch because things have progressed from here. Conflicts. Let's go through them. App models ability RB, that's the CanCanCan thing. Deleted in head and modified in origin master, and we'll keep it deleted. API websites controller. Oops, no. I need to keep the action policy part. And then we have a merge conflict in the rake file. Yep. It has been deleted. And of course in gemify.lock. Okay, that was that. Now let's see. How did I go about this? Well, I guess we need a test environment. And that starts with building a new application controller with all the gems that we need. Could have started Docker before I started the stream. I'm sorry for the wait time. Okay, so does all this work? We have app policies, and here we have defined all these policies that allow certain users certain actions. And it looks like this is all already in place. So all users are allowed to create new websites, and if the user is an admin, or if the user is allowed to manage the website's cluster, then they can manage the cluster, the website as well. That's why I'm switching from CanCanCan to action policy, because action policy doesn't define permissions as a very obscure hash with certain values. Instead, action policy uses Ruby logic, and I think that this is not only much more expressive, it's also much more flexible. And this is an example for this. Here I can delegate the manage permission from a website to a website's cluster simply by calling manage ? For this cluster, or by checking if the user is allowed to manage the cluster, then the user is also allowed to manage the website. Okay, Docker should be running. Let's build the app container. Okay, so I guess all that's missing is getting all the tests running. Maybe we need to actually write a few tests. This is also already an example that I should make some kind of notes or things, because it's hard to pick up an ongoing change after a few months. Frozen string literal true. That should make Robocop happy. And we should also check what version action policy is now. We are using 0.14. Action policy might already have progressed far beyond that. Not sure. Where are we? It's already prepared for Rails 6 apparently. Nice. I guess it's in lib, action policy, version 0.24. Okay. Anything I need to know about the latest changes? Is there a change log? Yeah. So we need Ruby 2.4, that's okay. And there's a new RSpec DSL for testing policies, that's nice. that's the master branch, so that's not yet released, I guess. Here's what's been going on in 024. Well, let's scroll back. 014, that's ours. So then we went to 020. Reasons, details. I think that was missing when I tried to implement a few things. At least to implement an alert that told the customer why a certain permission was denied. So that's handy. Slayer Darth, welcome to the stream. How are you, buddy? I'm fine. Things are good. Getting ready for St. Patrick's Day here tomorrow. Not too bad, learning some more machine code for the C64. Yeah, brilliant. The good old 6502. So, execution result, policy identifier, whatever that is. Then we had 022. Okay, it's not too interesting. Disable namespace resolution cache. Okay, I don't think that is going to affect me. Clarify documentation. Fix the way resolve resource vulnerable biases. Scoping support, that's going to be interesting, but this already, yeah, that's master. So 025 or 030 or whatever the new release will be is going to be interesting with scoping support and better testing. Pity that it's not released yet. Scoping is also an important thing to reduce the amount of data a user can see. So, for example, if you list the websites that only the owner can see their own websites, but not other customers' websites. So, I guess that's going to be very handy. You can then say, okay, posts authorize post all, and action policy will automatically weed out everything that's not allowed to be accessed here, because there is a relation scope defined for a post. If a user is an admin, it's okay, and otherwise we'll check if the user behind the post is current user. Okay, nice. Looking forward to this. So we've built this. Unfortunately, I'm going to go ahead and bundle update. Oh, I have to change the gen file, I guess. Action policy 024. Bundle update action policy. And another build. So how's your C64 project going ahead, Stella? Have you even decided what your project is going to be? Is it going to be a game? Still remember writing my first game. I think it was still on the VIC-20. I programmed a game in BASIC where you'd have to ski down a hill with trees coming your way, and you had to dodge the trees. So I had to build little tree characters and different views of the skier and switch them when the skier went to the left or to the right, and you had to use the cursor keys to go left and right. That was the early days, I think it was 1984 or 1985. And now here we are running Ruby and IDEs and test environments based on Docker containers. Things have changed quite a bit. And I'm even sharing my work live with the world. You're in last place every day. You can't quit your heart, don't back up, don't back out. Hey Coladia, how you doing? Welcome to the stream, appreciate you dropping by. What you doing right now, Coladia? You haven't been here for that long. Well, welcome to the stream. I'm happy to have you here. I'm working on a Ruby on Rails application here, namely one of the main pillars of my company. We are running a hosting platform named FlySteelBox, and I'm working on the hosting dashboard on our user interface. It's not really network stuff, it's the user interface where people can create launch new websites and things like that. So before they can upload their code to our hosting platform, they need to create websites and configure them, assign domain names and things like that. And that's what the dashboard does. If I code network stuff in general, no, I'm normally not that low level anymore. Depends on what you mean with network stuff. I'm definitely not doing kernel development. But there is a network component built into the dashboard because the dashboard also acts as an API that our customers can call from their own automation scripts and things like that. And so there are network communication aspects that turn up here, but it's not, I wouldn't call it network code. Oh no, definitely not ARP table scanning and things like that. I'm mostly ISO level 7 nowadays, not level 2 like ARP table. We thought it would be great having a program that lists connected SNMP devices to get our data from them. In a monitoring context, so then okay. You mean all SNMP devices connected to the network? So you'd scan the network, find the SNMP capable devices, and then walk their object trees to get all the data from them. There should be tools that already do this. That's a very basic enterprise monitoring problem that should be solved. Okay, we've built the application, so we should be able to fire up our development environment. Music very voice is very high. I'll turn it down a bit, no problem. Thanks for the feedback. Is that better? Cool. Okay, so the application container is running, so at least this worked. Now I'm very curious to see what happens if I start my test environment or my test suite. Docker compose exec app bundle exec rspec spec. I have no idea what's going to happen now because it's been months when I last ran this branch. Oh, and this is not looking good. Oh, of course, database. You can abort this and first run dbnuke, so we even have a test database to work with. See you later, Caladia. Okay. Let's see what our spec is doing now. Okay, we have quite a number of fails here. And seeing these deprecation warnings here, I'll better add a new issue to the repository. Oh, no. What's this issue here? I see, I've conflated two issues here in this older thing. Factory guard. I did the change from factory guard to factory bot, but I didn't resolve the deprecations, so I'll go ahead and reduce this and I guess this is going to be a bug in testing. Okay. And let's go back to 334. It's quite an old issue. Lots of ideas in the meantime. Okay. So I guess we'll have to take these one at a time. Let's see why they fail. Authorize read website. I think that's still CanCanCan syntax. Or it's old syntax. Let's see. They just authorize post. That's also because it says wrong number of arguments, giving 2 and expected 0 to 1. 0 if we would use the implicit permission where action policy guesses what we mean, and 1 is the explicit thing like here where I say authorized a certain post. Okay, let's see if we can get this running. That's the app controller's emergency calls controller. Well, let's keep the policies open. Take a look at the controller, emergency call controller. Let's simply authorize website. Then we run this test again. Yep, this works. However, does it work for the opposite case? Let's take a look at the current documentation. Okay, scoping will be released as O3 open. Okay, good to know. Until then we could use the master branch as our source. I'm not a fan of that, because it might also introduce regressions or things like that. So what I'm confused right now is, this is nice, authorize user, but how do we... Okay, so here's a more extensive thing to update, because here, I wanted to have read permission, so that would be to show, I guess. Or create. How does this work? It's colon create, and here it's also colon create. Let's see if this works. Hey Daniel, welcome to the stream. Thanks for following, I really appreciate it. I'm happy to see that you actually found the time to join us live. Okay, so it does still work. What actually do we test here? It's an integration test, so let's take a look at this. Spec, features, send emergency call. Yeah, we should. We should add a second scenario here. Or simply use a cluster that doesn't have a service level agreement. So SLA not in place, and this scenario is SLA in place. And so this will have a different text here. At the moment this is going to fail if my business logic is working as intended. Yep. We can't even click the link because this everything here so it's basically we simply visit the website and we shouldn't see a link request an immediate callback. Well, I'm pretty relieved that this seems to be working as intended. Since I'm not, or it's still pretty new to action policy, I'm a bit cautious. It does have the content though. Yeah, because the explanation, in case of a website outage, our enterprise SLA would enable you to request an immediate callback, has the same text. Okay. So... let's take this text then. Our enterprise SLA would enable you. And let's also fix the style issues right here, even if our test suite doesn't yet cover them. We'll need the magic comment at the start, frozen string literal true, and apparently the feature keyword has been deprecated, so let's use describe here. So what we actually mean here is not the scenario, it's the context. And here we have another context. So now okay, that's a strange thing. The first argument to describe should be the class or module being tested. That's strange for an integration test, for a feature test. That's something I'll have to look up, how the correct style would be here. But the test works, so let's see if how it looks with the new structure. And now let's see, rspec describe class. Rspec describe class feature test or something. Rspec feature spec has no described class. That's exactly my issue here. If a feature request spec is in the features directory, it will not have a described class. The responsive can easily turn this off by using Robocop YAML, and this you can turn it off at all or just for a specific folder. So I'll have to exclude spec features for this. So basically, we'll add this to our Robocop YAML. this message, but it does not. Okay, and example has too many lines. That's because this feature test has a lot of setup stuff, and also it goes through the web page and fills in the form and things like that. So this shouldn't apply here as well. RSpec example length should be have a different metric here. Okay, but the test does work as intended. So let's see. Let's first check in the gem file, because we've updated action policy. And then let's take another look at this. Okay, that's just a small style fix. And the actual stuff is here in emergency calls controller and send emergency call. Not a lot to write. And now we've just the rule of YAML left. Let me see. It's strange. How does this work? It's the send emergency calls. Okay, so it looks like this is old. Yeah, okay. And the RSpec example length should have a different setting. How can we influence that? RSpec / example. Only excluded for the time being. Not sure if I can set this max value for specific for a certain directory, but I'm happy to disable it for the moment. Okay. Guess we should Set this to master. Merge this in. Okay, then let's go back to our spec, run the whole test suite. How many errors do we have here? Is this a lot of work? And we will have to keep in mind that many of these failures will have the same root cause, so the number of changes is probably lower than the number of failures here. It's not too bad, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh. Yeah, okay, still quite a number of failures here. We'll take it one by another. And still I feel happy that I've picked up this particular issue again, because I think it's going to be resolved in not too much time, and then I'll be in a much better place in terms of authorization. So we have the cluster order spec here. Well, maybe we can pick a few more low-hanging fruit, like this here, the edge router addresses controller. This should be easy to fix. Edge router addresses controller and its spec, edge router address controller spec, and the associated edge router address controller. Okay, so let's see what the actual issue here is. This should be another delegation thing, because the edge router address should only be modified by admins, so you're probably only missing the actual policy here. Let's see. Where are our policies? Controllers, policies. Yeah, we don't even have an edge router policy, edge router address policy, so that's what's missing here. We have an edge router policy, but not an edge router. How many tests are there? I'm running the whole test suite, am I? Lots of deprecations. I'm running the edge router addresses controller spec. Oof. Ah, okay. I think I have too many tabs open. Well, there are a few things, posts, but why is it running so many tests here? Yeah, it's running all the... Okay, I'm a moron. Okay. Okay, these all, of course, all 5 examples fail because our authorization is bogus. Then let's see. Policies. Edge router policy. We can basically just copy the edge router policy and make this the edge router address policy as well. Edge router address policy.rb and edge router address policy, pre-check allow admins, and if user is an admin. And we're missing the frozen style literal. Okay, frozen string. Frozen string literal true. Why do I always write try? And I guess we're missing this here as well. Nope, that's this. Okay. This is much better, and that was an easy fix. Looks like the weather here is getting worse in time for St. Patrick's Day. I guess it's going to rain. It's going to literally rain on our parade. How's the weather in your neck of the woods? Any updates from London? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, while this is running, I'll extend this with a few notes so I can see how this is doing. I'm going to fix our exercise tests to authorization. Migrate authorization logic from CanCanCan to action policy, and I guess add missing negative tests where they're missing. So let's see, how long is this list? It's not too, it's 32 failures, okay. We have a cluster order spec. And then we have things like the website policy spec. I guess starting with the policy specs will resolve quite a few things. So let's see, why is the website policy spec not working? That's a very basic thing that should be working. So let's run it. Because if website authorization doesn't work, a lot of these feature tests will not work either. Just got your tweet, Daniel. Thanks. Website policy. If user owns the customer, this doesn't work. Uninitialized constant website policy. Interesting. Okay, let's see how this is supposed to be tested. First of all, there should be a website policy. And there is one. Okay, website policy. Derived from application policy. And then we have a website policy spec. This does not work. Okay, so let's take a look at the documentation. Maybe that's something that has changed so far. Rails integration. Testing. Here we go. Here we have our spec. We need a subject, policy apply. I think that's something that has changed. How does this look? So we have a policy describe class new, and we create this with, okay, I see. Let's copy this over, and so we just have a reference here. And add the obligatory frozen string literal comment. So what we do is we create a user and we create a website. I guess I'm not a fan of let, because I'd like to have everything that a test example needs be created in the example, and I am actually creating a user here, so I don't need this either. And then we need a policy. Which we also create here, describe class new website, and then user. Okay. And then we simply say it, and then is expected to equal false. Because it's policy apply. So what we need here is a different subject. For policy apply manage. And that's supposed to be true. Okay, so we just have to use apply here. That's new, but it does make sense. Style things. Okay, yeah. Weather is the same here. It's very April-like, and so it's a continuous cycle of very windy, and then sunny, cloudy, and rainy. How strictly do I follow test-driven development day to day? Not as much as I would like, to be honest. I'm still in the mindset that I've described in one of my previous blog posts on fullstacksensei.com, where I see a problem, then I derive a solution in my head, and of course I'd like to implement that. Then I implement it, and then I realize, okay, I haven't done any tests, and I haven't written any tests, and that's when I do the tests after the fact. I'm not very happy about this, because it's a very it's easy to fall in love with your own idea of implementation when you do the implementation first. If you do the test first, where you think, okay, what is the result going to be, and that's what you test, you still have all the freedom in the world how you implement that, how you get to this result. And so that's the main advantage I think TDD gives us, that we can free us of a certain way to implement things, and simply focus on the result and say, okay, what is the result here? In this case, we have a website policy, and it should allow access under certain conditions. We test this, and it shouldn't depend on a certain way of implementing this. And so I'm trying to discipline myself to do more test-driven development, and not test or not implementation-driven development. And I've written about this. Let me pull up the website for a moment. So here on Full Stack Sensei blog, test driven or something, I'm not sure. Yep. It's blog test dash driven. YTG is an investment that pays off. So this is my this is how I want to be and how I want to act, and it's an aspiration. In reality, I'm not perfect yet. Okay, I guess this should work now. No, it can't, because it still says uninitialized constant website policy. That's because we don't include the website policy classes in our tests. I think that's something that spec helper should help us with, because we need to config include these things, I think. Or is this going to work? Oh, we do require action policy RSpec here. Let me see. Note, the DSL is included only to example of the text type policy on the spec policies folder. If you want to add this DSL to other examples, add in tag type policy. So what we are missing is nice, that's very clean to say, okay, this is a policy. Still, doesn't work. Oh, there's still a require we need. So we need action policy RSpec DSL, okay. Like this. Nope. Come on, you can't make me include this in every file, can you? Cannot load such file. Okay, and this is our spec helper or Rails helper. So that's exactly what I'm going to do, because I don't want to have this in every strangely I don't get this require cannot load such file error here. Is this something? And they don't even have the type policy. Or in the spec policies folder, and that's exactly where it is. So we don't even need the type policies. Let's go to GitHub then. I need this here? Do I require the Rails helper automatically? What game exactly are you referring to, Coladia? What was it that you've been following? So okay, that doesn't look like my problem. Uninitialized constant. Let's look for constant. This is always with namespaces. Let's see what happens if I require the Rails helper here. Okay. So action policy, RSpec, TSL. Oh, I'm using master. Okay, this is a master feature. This has not been released yet. Do I work with the master branch then, which I didn't want to do? Let me see. But that's the new TSL with succeed and failed and describe rule. I don't need this. Let's see. Non-spec. I guess I'll have to go back to 024 or something like this. Let's take a look at things here, docs, testing. Okay, let's use this. Action policy test helper. But that's a mini test. RSpec looks different. We still have to use action policy RSpec. Okay, not RSpec DSL. That has been an issue with action policy before, that it's all very bleeding edge, and it's hard to see, and especially because they publish their documentation. They seem to publish their documentation from their master branch, so the documentation already mentions things that haven't been released yet if you're not using the master branch of the gem, and that's very confusing. So RSpec as before, and then we can use the be authorized to matcher. That's interesting. Okay, so when we, what do we test here? Testing policies, that's what I need. Describe class new with the user, and then still it's policy apply and then the method, and then the subject is expected to be false or true. Okay, that's how it looks. The only thing that we've added is the test helper here. Expect policy apply manage. That's the subject here. Okay. Yes, that's that. Okay, that's that. Now let's see how this works. Maybe it was just a require here. Okay. Initialize constant action policy authorizer. Now we are in the weeds of action policy. That's what I don't like about this gem. Really, you get a certain way and then it simply fails with very obscure methods, error messages here. Action policy authorizer. We are in action policy 024. Is there an authorizer in the first place? Action policy, lib, action policy, authorizer. That is actually however, we always have to require the Rails helper here. We might be able to require this in spec helper as well. But let's see this working first. Look at that. So there were other test suites like this that we should be able to fix equally. And maybe I'll get my number of failing tests below 30 before I'll wrap up. Because I've been streaming for 90 minutes now, and I think it's time to take a break. And I should resolve these deprecations before my next stream, because they are very distracting. Oh, I just saw your latest chat post. Recently I stumbled upon a really nice feature on GitHub. It's called Find File, which allows you to really quickly jump into any file in a repository, save it from clicking around into folders. You're right, I should be using this more. Fortunately, I don't have to search for files that often, and that's probably the reason why I'm not used to this already. Yeah, but navigation and things like that are pretty decent on GitHub. Okay, so let's see. What does look like this? So we have, well, I guess it's all the policy specs, isn't it? So we go through them one by one. And see, we already have the Rails helper here, and we'll simply add frozen string literal true, and then okay, we're using this let syntax here. Then let's actually use their syntax completely. So we'll change the subject. Depending on the context. So here the subject is policy apply read. Is expected to in this case it's update. And here we have a test with two expectations, and that should be split up anyway. So it denies read access. same for update. It do nice updates and it do nice reads. That should be that. Box domain policy spec. Oof, okay. Looks like this doesn't quite work the way I intended it to. But that's exactly why I don't like this let style. It makes things very unpredictable and missing policy authorization context user. Is it user? Yeah. Okay. I probably rewrite this to not use the let syntax. But I'll do this another time. It's time to wrap this up, and even though I didn't get it finished, I'm very happy how far I got, because I've refreshed my memory, and now I guess I'm in a place to get this change finished soon and not leave it hanging for another few months. I'll probably continue work on this next week. If not next Saturday, then even already during the week. I might feel the need to do some work on this, and I'll do a spontaneous live coding stream then. So be sure to follow this stream so you get a notification when I go online. My currently only fixed schedule is Saturdays at 3:30 p.m. GMT, but I might drop in during the week whenever it tickles my fancy. So yeah, let's be a bit spontaneous then, and do a few more stabs at this. For now, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you found it interesting. Please hit the follow button and tell your friends and colleagues about this stream. If you have any questions and or feedback, feel free to get in touch on my Twitter account. I'm at FullStackSensei. I'm also going to upload a recording of this stream to my YouTube channel, which you will find at youtube.fullstacksensei.com. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube as well, so you get notified when I publish new recordings. And so that's it. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.